Hi everyone, I'm Doc Ken and welcome to Chapter 3 entitled Circulatory System. First, let's talk about circulatory system. Circulatory system is also known as cardiovascular system, which is a vital organ system that delivers essential substances to cells for basic functions to occur. The main functions of the circulatory system is to deliver oxygen to the body tissues and at the same time removing carbon dioxide produced by the body cells. Let's now move on to the major parts of the circulatory system, which is divided into three major parts. We have the heart, blood, and blood vessels. Circulatory system is a network composed of the heart as a centralized muscular pumping organ, blood vessels that distribute blood throughout the body, and the blood itself for transportation of different substances. The heart is a muscular pumping organ that is the central component of the circulatory system. It is divided into two parts by a muscular organ which is called septum. The muscular component of the heart is called pericardium. It is a sac-like structure that encloses the heart. This is divided into three layers. We have epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium. The myocardium is composed of involuntary cardiac muscle, which is the middle layer. It is lined by a membrane called endocardium internally, as well as an external which pertains to epicardium, the outer layer of the heart. Let's now move on to the types of blood cells. Blood is the transport media of nearly everything within the body. It transports hormones, nutrients, oxygen, antibodies, and other important things needed to keep the body healthy. We have RBC, WBC, and platelets. Red blood cells is also known as erythrocytes, are by far the most abundant cells in the blood. RBCs give blood its characteristic red color. The main function of RBC is for oxygenation. White blood cells or leukocytes are a part of the immune system and help our bodies fight infection. They circulate in the blood so that they can be transported to an area where an infection has developed. When the number of WBCs in your blood increases, this is a sign of an infection somewhere in your body. Platelets or thrombocytes help blood to clot by forming something called a platelet plug. The other way that blood clot is through coagulation factors. Platelets also help to promote other blood clotting mechanisms. Let's now move on to the types of blood vessels. Blood vessel, a vessel in the human or animal body in which blood circulates. The vessels that carry blood away from the heart are called arteries, and their very small branches are called arterioles. Very small branches that are collect the blood from the various organs and parts are called venules, and they unite to form veins which return the blood to the heart. There are three types of blood cells. We have artery, we have vein, and capillary. Arteries carry oxygen-rich blood away from the heart and where it needs to go. All arteries are oxygenated except pulmonary artery. Veins carry the oxygenated blood to the heart where it is directed to the lungs to receive oxygen. All veins are unoxygenated except pulmonary vein. Capillaries are mini thin-walled vessels that connect the arterioles, which is the smallest artery, and venules, which is the smallest vein. It is through the capillaries that nutrients and wastes are exchanged between the blood and body tissues. The heart is divided into four chambers. We have the right and left atria, which are the receiving chambers of the heart, and the right and left ventricles, which are the pumping chambers of the heart. Left and right parts of the heart is being divided by the septum. The oxygenated blood from systemic circulation returns to the right atrium via superior and inferior vena cavas. Then the right atrium receives blood from those two vena cavas. The blood in the right atrium flows into the right ventricle via tricuspid valve. The right ventricle contracts, directing the blood into pulmonary artery when pulmonary valves open. The valve closes to prevent backflow of blood into the right ventricle. Blood from pulmonary artery goes to the lungs, where it is then oxygenated. The pulmonary veins collect the newly oxygenated blood from the lungs and return it to the left atrium. Oxygenated blood enters the left atrium from the pulmonary circulation via pulmonary veins. The blood passes from the left atrium to the left ventricle through bicuspid valve. The left ventricle contracts, forcing blood into the aorta. The blood passes through the valve into the ascending aorta. The circulatory system is divided into two separate loops. The shorter pulmonary circuit that exchanges blood between the heart and the lungs for oxygenation, and this is called pulmonary circulation. It is a portion of circulation responsible for carrying the oxygenated blood away from the heart to the lungs and then brings oxygenated blood back to the heart. And the longer systemic circuit that distributes blood through all other systems and tissues of the body is called systemic circulation, wherein the oxygenated blood is pumped from the heart to every organ and tissue in the body, and the oxygenated blood comes back again to the heart. Both of the circuits begin and end in the heart. The left figure pertains to pig's heart and the right figure pertains to human heart. As you can see on the figure, pig's heart are used to study the anatomy of human hearts because they are very similar in structure, size, and function to human hearts. And these similarities, combined with the fact that they are much more readily available than human hearts, make them an ideal choice to research and study. Like a human heart, a pig's heart consists of four chambers, two atria, and two ventricles. Likewise, consistent with the structure of a human heart, it has four valves and aorta. These similarities allow blood to flow through a pig's heart in the same way it flows through a human heart. In fact, pigs' hearts are so similar to human hearts that the tissue from pig heart is used to make heart valve replacement for humans. Of course, the tissue is treated before surgery to decrease the likelihood of the recipient's immune system rejecting it. Let's now move on to the integration of muscular system. We have three types of muscles. We have cardiac muscle, skeletal muscle, and smooth muscle. First, let's talk about skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle, attached to the bones, is responsible for skeletal movements. The peripheral portion of the central nervous system controls the skeletal muscles. Thus, these muscles are under conscious or voluntary or control. These muscle fibers are striated and each acts independently of neighboring muscle fibers. Next, let's talk about smooth muscle. Smooth muscle found in the walls of the hollow internal organs, such as blood vessels, the gastrointestinal tract, bladder, and uterus, is under control of the autonomic nervous system. Smooth muscles cannot be controlled consciously and thus acts involuntarily. Now, these are non-striated muscles that contracts slowly and rhythmically. And lastly, we have cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle found in the walls of the heart. It is also under control by the autonomic nervous system. The cardiac muscle is striated like skeletal muscle. The contraction of cardiac muscle is involuntarily strong and rhythmical.